He wakes before dawn. Works late into the night. Every year, his efforts intensify. A relentless pursuit, a quiet desperation. He sees the world around him seemingly advance, yet his own progress, it falters. Each year, the gap widens. His financial footing, more precarious. He works harder. Earns less. A paradox. A crushing reality he cannot comprehend. The harder he pushes, the deeper the rut. Why? What unseen force orchestrates this cruel deception? What invisible hand pulls him back, just as he strains to move forward? A question that haunts millions. A question that might expose a shocking truth about our own minds. What if the enemy isn't external? Not the economy, not luck, not circumstance. What if the saboteur resides much closer? Within us. Within the very organ we rely upon for reason, for strategy, for survival. Your brain. Is it truly the engine of your financial ambition, or something far more ancient? A silent partner, perhaps, but one with its own agenda. An agenda shaped by millennia of evolution. An agenda that, ironically, might be designed to keep you from true financial abundance. To keep you safe. To keep you small. A controversial idea, perhaps. But the evidence suggests a startling reality. To understand this inherent conflict, we must journey back. Deep into our evolutionary past. Our brains, remarkably complex, still operate on a primitive blueprint. A blueprint forged in an era of scarcity, danger, and immediate threats. Survival was paramount. Every decision, every instinct, optimized for avoiding harm, preserving resources, maintaining the status quo. These are not flaws. They were, once, virtues. Essential for our ancestors to endure. But the modern financial landscape? It's a world alien to these ancient mechanisms. A world of abstract numbers, long-term investments, and calculated risks. A world our primitive brain struggles to comprehend, let alone navigate. Consider the loss aversion. A foundational concept in behavioral economics. It's not just a preference, it's a profound psychological asymmetry. The pain of losing something, anything, is felt far more intensely than the pleasure of gaining an equivalent amount. Your brain doesn't just dislike loss. It fears it. Actively avoids it. This isn't rational. It's deeply emotional. A primal scream from your subconscious. For our ancestors, losing a resource meant starvation. Losing a territory meant death. This instinct, once a shield, now acts as a cage. It makes us hesitate. It makes us cling. It makes us avoid the very risks necessary for significant growth. Then there's a present bias. The overwhelming preference for immediate gratification over future rewards. $1 today feels more valuable than $1 tomorrow. Or $100 next year. Why save for retirement decades away when that new gadget provides instant satisfaction? Our ancestors couldn't rely on the future. Food today was certain. Food tomorrow was a gamble. Live in the now. Seize the immediate. This wasn't laziness. It was pragmatism. A survival strategy. But in a world where compounding interest is a superpower and long-term planning is essential, this ancient wisdom becomes a severe handicap. A subtle sabotage, urging us to spend, not save. Our brains are also masters of efficiency. They conserve energy. Seek the path of least resistance. This leads to status quo bias. The inherent preference for things to stay the same. Making a change, even a beneficial one, requires effort. It requires confronting the unknown. It triggers an internal alarm. So, we stay in the familiar job, even if it stifles. With the same old financial habits, even if they deplete. The mental energy required to reassess, to learn, to adapt, it's often too much for our energy-saving brain. It prefers the devil it knows, even if that devil is slowly impoverishing us. A silent, subtle trap. These biases often operate beneath our conscious awareness. We rationalize our choices. We tell ourselves stories. I deserve this. I'll start saving next month. It's not my fault. But these are often just after-the-fact justifications for decisions already made by our unconscious mind, driven by these ancient impulses. We believe we are in control. We believe our financial choices are logical, well considered. But what if that control is largely an illusion? What if our brain, in its effort to protect us, is actually steering us away from the very opportunities that could lead to financial freedom? A chilling thought. A necessary awakening. Beyond fear of loss, there's another powerful emotional driver, FOMO. That's fear of missing out. In the age of social media, this bias is amplified to unprecedented levels. We see curated highlight reels of others' apparent successes, their acquisitions, their lavish experiences. And our brain, ever vigilant for social standing and resource acquisition, registers a threat. A perceived gap. This can lead to impulsive spending, keeping up with the Joneses, taking on unnecessary debt. All to alleviate the anxiety of being left behind. A modern manifestation of an ancient instinct, the need to belong, to be part of the successful tribe. But at what cost to our true financial well-being? Another subtle trick of the mind is anchoring. Our tendency to rely too heavily on the first piece of information offered when making decisions. An initial salary offer. A price tag. This anchor can disproportionately influence subsequent judgments. If your first job offered a certain salary, your brain might anchor to that, making it harder to negotiate for significantly more later, even if your skills and market value have grown exponentially. This initial information, often arbitrary, can subtly dictate your perception of success or possible, limiting your ambitions. It sets an unspoken ceiling. An invisible barrier to your earning potential. Then there's overconfidence. A common cognitive bias where people's subjective confidence in their own ability is greater than their objective accuracy. We think we know more than we do. We believe we're better than average. In financial matters, this can lead to disastrous decisions, risky investments, failing to seek expert advice, ignoring warning signs. I can beat the market. I'll figure it out. This inflated sense of certainty can obscure real dangers, preventing us from preparing for contingencies or admitting when we're out of our depth. It's not malicious. It's a self-protective mechanism, an ego boost. But in the world of finance, it exacts a heavy toll. A silent destroyer of wealth. All these biases converge on a single, powerful concept, the comfort zone. Your brain loves it here. It's predictable. It's safe. It's where energy expenditure is minimized. Growth, by definition, happens outside this zone. It demands discomfort. It requires facing uncertainty. It entails risk. And risk, to the primitive brain, signals danger. So, it actively discourages venturing out. It whispers doubts. It manufactures anxieties. It reinforces the status quo. The comfort zone isn't a place of growth, it's a gilded cage. A prison, built by your own biology, designed to protect you from perceived harm, but in doing so, keeps you perpetually away from financial breakthrough. From true freedom. The greatest trick your brain ever played. When financial resources are scarce, a unique psychological phenomenon emerges, scarcity mindset. It's not just having little money, it's how your brain responds to having little money. Scarcity consumes mental bandwidth. It narrows focus. It makes long-term planning incredibly difficult. You become so preoccupied with immediate needs, with putting out fires, that you miss opportunities for systemic change. It's like trying to drive a car while constantly looking in the rearview mirror, checking for threats. You focus on survival, not strategy. This mindset, while protective in the moment, perpetuates the very scarcity it seeks to overcome. A cruel loop. A self-fulfilling prophecy. Your brain, once again, optimizing for the immediate, not the ultimate. Consider cognitive dissonance. This discomfort we feel when holding conflicting beliefs or when our actions clash with our values. If you value financial freedom but consistently make choices that undermine it, your brain seeks to resolve this tension. Not by changing behavior, which is hard, but by changing beliefs. Money isn't that important anyway. Rich people are unethical. I'll never be wealthy. These justifications, these narratives, reduce the psychological discomfort. They allow us to stay within our familiar patterns, our comfort zone, without feeling the full weight of our self-sabotage. It's a defense mechanism. A powerful tool for maintaining internal harmony. But at what cost to our external reality? To our bank accounts? Humans are social creatures. Our survival once depended on fitting in, on moving with the herd. This primal instinct translates into financial decisions through herd mentality or social proof. If everyone around you is accumulating debt for consumer goods, if everyone talks about the next get-rich-quick scheme, your brain feels pressure to conform. To not be the odd one out. It's easier to follow the crowd, even if the crowd is heading towards a financial cliff. Questioning the collective requires immense mental fortitude. It signals potential isolation, a primal fear. So, we often mimic, we often follow. Even against our better judgment. Even when it costs us dearly. A hidden social tax on our aspirations. Our brain also struggles with true randomness and probability. Enter the gambler's fallacy. The mistaken belief that if a particular event happens more frequently than normal during a past period, it is less likely to happen in the future, or vice versa. I've lost 5 times in a row, so I'm due for a win. This flawed logic can drive continued, detrimental financial decisions, particularly in speculation or investing. It's an attempt to find patterns where none exist. To impose order on chaos. Because chaos feels dangerous. Our brain craves predictability. It seeks to predict outcomes, to exert control. But the market, like life, often defies such simple causality. And our attempts to force it can empty our pockets. And then, that sunk cost fallacy. The tendency to continue investing in a failing endeavor because of the time, money, or effort already spent. I've already put so much into this, I can't quit now. Whether it's a bad business idea, a failing investment, or even a toxic relationship, our brain hates to admit defeat. It registers that sunk costs as a loss, and due to loss aversion, it will double down rather than cut ties. This resistance to acknowledging a past mistake, to simply walking away, can lead to even greater future losses. It's a trap. A powerful one. Your brain, clinging to the past, preventing a clear view of the future. Preventing decisive, profitable action. Our brain loves to be right. So much so, it actively seeks out information that confirms its existing beliefs, and conveniently ignores information that contradicts them. This is a confirmation bias. If you believe a certain investment is a sure thing, you'll find every article, every expert, every anecdote that supports your conviction. And you'll dismiss any cautionary tales. This creates an echo chamber within your own mind, preventing you from seeing a balanced, objective reality. It fosters tunnel vision. It solidifies poor financial decisions, making them seem infallible. Your brain isn't trying to deceive you, it's trying to protect your existing worldview. But that protection can be financially devastating. A blind spot, self-imposed. And what about the elusive pursuit of happiness through acquisition? The hedonic treadmill. We chase financial milestones, believing each new purchase, each new level of income, will bring lasting joy. But our brains quickly adapt. The new car becomes just a car. The raise becomes the new normal. We return to a baseline level of happiness, and then crave the next thing. This constant pursuit, this endless striving, can lead to perpetual dissatisfaction and endless spending. It's a treadmill. Always moving, always striving, but never truly arriving. Your brain's clever trick to keep you motivated, perhaps, but a devastating one for your bank account. A never-ending cycle of desire. When it comes to money, rationality often takes a backseat to emotion. Fear drives panic selling during market downturns, locking in losses. Greed fuels impulsive buying during speculative bubbles, leading to inevitable crashes. Our brain is hardwired for emotional responses, especially when survival feels threatened or opportunity seems fleeting. These powerful feelings override logic. They cloud judgment. They compel us to act against our long-term interests. We become slaves to the daily fluctuations, the headlines, the noise. The emotional brain, a powerful ally in the wild, becomes a formidable adversary in the financial markets. A primal reaction, often out of place. Why do we struggle to save for retirement? Why do we put off crucial financial planning? Our brain discounts the future. It treats our future self as almost a different person. Distant. Abstract. The pain of sacrifice today for a benefit decades away feels disproportionate. It's easier to give the present self what it wants. This disconnect is profound. Our brain prioritizes the tangible, immediate needs of me now over the hypothetical needs of me later. This isn't short-sightedness in the traditional sense. It's an evolutionary artifact. Our ancestors had no concept of a 40-year retirement. Survival was day-to-day. And that ancient programming still runs deep. A powerful, invisible hand, guiding our future away. Once we own something, its perceived value instantly increases. This is the endowment effect. We demand more to sell something we possess than we would be willing to pay to acquire it if we didn't already own it. This applies to investments too. We hold on to losing stocks, convinced they're worth more than the market dictates, simply because they're ours. Our brain assigns a special value to what we already have. It's another facet of loss aversion, intertwined with a sense of ownership. Selling feels like a loss, a divestment from a part of ourselves. This attachment prevents objective assessment. It keeps us holding on when we should let go. A powerful, possessive instinct. Paradoxically, too many options can paralyze us. Choice overload. Faced with hundreds of investment funds, countless savings plans, or endless budgeting apps, our brain becomes overwhelmed. The effort of evaluating each choice, the fear of making the wrong decision, leads to inaction. We defer. We procrastinate. We do nothing. This apparent freedom, this abundance of choice, becomes another barrier to financial progress. Our brain, seeking simplicity and clarity, shuts down in the face of complexity. It prefers a limited menu. A clear path. But the modern financial world is anything but simple. It's a labyrinth, designed to overwhelm the unprepared mind. And leave it stuck. Our brains are natural storytellers. We crave coherent narratives to make sense of the world, and our place within it. This narrative imperative can lead us astray financially. We seek simple explanations for complex market movements, or for our own financial struggles. It's the government's fault. I'm just unlucky. These stories, while comforting, often prevent us from seeking deeper truths or taking personal responsibility. They absolve us. They protect our ego. But they also prevent us from learning, from adapting, from growing. We become prisoners of our own convenient fictions, rather than confronting the uncomfortable realities of our financial behavior. A powerful self-deception. Perhaps one of the most insidious ways our brain keeps us stuck is through the defaults. Our tendency to stick with pre-selected options. If a retirement plan requires opt-in, many won't join. If it's opt-out, participation skyrockets. Our brain, always seeking to conserve energy and avoid decision-making, embraces the default. It's the path of least resistance, literally. Companies, governments, and financial institutions understand this. They leverage our inherent laziness, our cognitive biases, to guide our choices. Often for good. But often, if the default setting is one of inaction or less than optimal choices, our brain will passively accept it, keeping us on a predetermined, often suboptimal, financial trajectory. A silent, powerful force. Our brains often treat money differently based on its origin or intended use. This is mental accounting. Money earned from a bonus might be spent more freely than money from a salary. A tax refund might feel like found money, making us more likely to splurge. But money is fungible. A dollar is a dollar, regardless of where it came from. Our brain's tendency to create these arbitrary categories prevents a holistic view of our finances. It allows us to rationalize frivolous spending from one account while being extremely frugal with another. It breaks down our financial picture into disconnected silos. A clever trick, allowing us to spend more, while feeling less guilty. A subconscious budget buster. Our brains have a curious habit of remembering uncompleted tasks more readily than completed ones. The Zeigarnik effect. This means the undone financial planning, the ignored budget, the postponed investment decision, they linger. They consume mental energy. They create an underlying stress. While it might seem like a motivator, for many, it becomes a source of anxiety that leads to avoidance, rather than action. The sheer weight of unfinished financial business can be paralyzing. Our brain, constantly reminding us of what we haven't done, rather than encouraging us to simply start. A psychological weight, silently accumulating, pushing us deeper into stagnation. The endless to-do list. Emotions are contagious. We pick up on the moods, the anxieties, the excitement of those around us. This emotional contagion extends to financial sentiment. If your social circle is constantly worried about the economy, if they share tales of struggle, your brain internalizes that fear. If they express euphoria about a speculative bubble, your brain will lean into that optimism. This collective emotional resonance can amplify individual biases, leading to widespread irrational behavior in markets and personal finances. Our brains, designed for tribal connection, unwittingly absorb the financial anxieties or excesses of the group. A shared illusion, a collective trap. Our brain is also susceptible to the allure of an easy money. Get-rich-quick schemes, lottery tickets, speculative ventures promising overnight fortunes. This taps into our present bias, our desire for immediate gratification, and our aversion to sustained effort. The idea of bypassing the hard, slow work of building wealth is incredibly appealing. Our brain, always looking for efficiency, for shortcuts, sees this as an optimal path. It overrides the logical warnings. It downplays the risks. It focuses on the tantalizing reward. This ancient yearning for the effortless gain, for the sudden windfall, becomes a consistent drain on financial stability for millions. The siren call of instant wealth, often leading to ruin. The Diderot effect describes a phenomenon where acquiring a new possession often creates a spiral of consumption. Buying a new couch might necessitate new throw pillows, a new rug, then perhaps new curtains to match. Each new item creates a demand for others, disrupting our existing aesthetic or functional equilibrium. Our brain, seeking coherence and harmony, drives us to keep buying. This endless cycle of acquisition is a powerful driver of consumer debt and prevents savings. It's not just about one purchase. It's about the web of desires that purchase ignites. A relentless, often subconscious, push towards more and more. A silent, yet powerful, spending trigger. Closely related to herd mentality, the bandwagon effect describes how the probability of an individual adopting a belief or action increases with the number of people who have already adopted it. In finance, this means joining a trend, investing in a popular stock, or following a perceived hot opportunity simply because everyone else seems to be doing it. It feels safer. It feels validated. Even if, objectively, the trend is overpriced or unsustainable. Our brain doesn't want to miss out on what appears to be a winning strategy, regardless of its underlying fundamentals. It's a powerful social force, pulling us into bubbles and away from reasoned independent analysis. Another layer of collective, unconscious sabotage. How information is presented, or framed, profoundly impacts our decisions. A financial product marketed as a 90% fat-free sounds more appealing than to 10% fat, even though they're identical. Our brain responds to positive framing, to the perceived gain, to the avoidance of loss. It's not about the raw data but the psychological wrapper. Banks, advertisers, and financial advisors understand this. They frame information in ways that appeal to our biases, subtly guiding us towards certain choices. Our primitive brain, eager for simple cues, often falls victim to this subtle manipulation, making decisions based on presentation rather than substance. A powerful, unseen influence. Bad news sells. Why? Because of a negativity bias. Our brains are hardwired to give more weight to negative experiences or information than positive ones. A single financial setback, a small loss, can overshadow numerous successes. This keeps us hypervigilant, constantly scanning for threats. While valuable for survival in the wild, in finance, it can lead to excessive caution, missed opportunities, and a pessimistic outlook. We focus on what could go wrong, rather than what could go right. This skewed perspective prevents us from taking calculated risks necessary for growth. It fuels anxiety. It reinforces inaction. Your brain, once again, prioritizing perceived safety over potential prosperity. A deeper dive into present bias reveals hyperbolic discounting. The tendency to choose a smaller, sooner reward over a larger, later reward, even if the later reward is significantly better. The perceived value of a future reward drastically drops off, the further into the future it is. It's why we struggle to save, why we prefer credit cards for instant purchases, why we delay uncomfortable financial conversations. Our brain finds exponential decay in the value of future gain. This isn't rational linear thinking. It's an ancient, impulsive mechanism. A fundamental flaw, perhaps, in our modern financial decision-making, ensuring that the now always wins against the later, no matter the long-term cost. A powerful pull towards immediate gratification. What if we make the wrong choice? This lurking anxiety is the fear of regret. It can paralyze us. We don't invest because the market might crash. We don't start a business because it might fail. We don't negotiate because we might be rejected. The imagined pain of regret, of looking back and wishing we had done something differently, is so powerful that it often leads to inaction. And inaction, in a dynamic financial world, is often the most costly decision of all. Our brain, trying to shield us from future emotional pain, instead forces us into a passive stance. A safe harbor, perhaps, but one where no ships of fortune ever arrive. A subtle, yet potent, deterrent to progress. Beyond inherent biases, there's a systemic vulnerability, a glaring lack of financial education. Schools rarely teach practical money management, investing, or budgeting. We're expected to learn by osmosis, or through costly trial and error. This knowledge gap leaves us acutely susceptible to our brain's natural tendencies. Without a conscious framework, without deliberate strategies, we default to instinct. And instinct, as we've seen, is often ill-suited for the modern financial world. It's like sending a warrior into battle with ancient tools against modern artillery. Without proper training, without the right strategies, our powerful brains are left to their own primitive devices. And the outcome is often predictable. Our ingrained belief systems, often formed in childhood, powerfully shape our financial destiny. If we grew up hearing money is the root of all evil, or we're not meant to be rich, these narratives become deeply etched. They become unconscious commands. Our brain, always striving for consistency, will subtly guide our choices to align with these deep-seated beliefs, even if they contradict our conscious desires for wealth. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. A blueprint inherited, rarely questioned. These beliefs become invisible walls, preventing us from truly embracing abundance. A subconscious contract, signed long ago, dictating our financial future. Until we choose to rewrite it. And perhaps the most unexpected and insidious sabotage, the fear of success. What if becoming wealthy brings new problems? New responsibilities? Isolation? What if it changes who you are? Our brain, wary of the unknown, can sometimes fear the implications of great success more than the discomfort of staying exactly where we are. It's not a conscious fear, usually, but a subtle resistance. A self-sabotage that keeps us from reaching our full potential, not because we can't, but because a part of us worries about what happens when we do. A surprising twist in the tale. A deeper layer of protection, preventing the very thing we consciously desire. So, what is the biggest revelation in all of this? Your brain isn't trying to make you poor. It's trying to keep you safe. Its primary directive, etched over millions of years, is survival. Not financial prosperity. Not happiness. Not even logical choice. It is wired to avoid threats, perceived losses, unfamiliar changes, social isolation. In the Stone Age, these instincts were paramount. They kept us alive. But in our complex, abstract, modern financial world, these very survival mechanisms often misfire. They manifest as biases that deter risk-taking, encourage inaction, prioritize instant gratification, and cling to the known. They are not malicious. They are simply outdated. Misaligned. Your brain is not your enemy. It is a deeply protective, yet ultimately misguided, ally in your financial journey. The first step to breaking free? Awareness. Understanding these powerful, subconscious forces at play within your own mind. It's not about fighting your brain. It's about understanding its ancient language. It's about acknowledging its primitive fears. It's about consciously overriding its outdated programming. This isn't easy. It requires discipline. It requires intentionality. It requires courage to step outside that comfort zone. But it is possible. To reprogram your financial destiny, you must first understand the operating system. And only then can you begin to rewrite the code. The journey to financial freedom begins not in the market, but within your own skull. A conscious choice. A powerful awakening. What does this look like in practice? To counter loss aversion, focus on the potential gains. To fight present bias, automate savings. To overcome status quo bias, set specific, achievable financial goals and review them regularly. To challenge confirmation bias, actively seek out dissenting opinions. To defeat choice overload, simplify your financial options. It's about building external systems that support your conscious goals, rather than relying solely on willpower. Willpower is finite. Systems are resilient. It's about creating a new environment where your brain's protective instincts are channeled towards your prosperity, not away from it. A deliberate, strategic rewiring. Ultimately, the path to financial freedom demands embracing discomfort. It demands challenging those deep-seated instincts that scream danger whenever you consider a new investment, a career change, or even a bold negotiation. Your brain's alarm system, once a lifesaver, now often rings false. Learn to differentiate between real threats and perceived ones. Understand that true growth, financial and personal, often lies just beyond the edge of your current comfort. It means pushing past the primal urges to stay small, to stay safe, to stay familiar. It's a journey of self-mastery. A liberation from the confines of your own biology. The choice, ultimately, is yours. To remain a prisoner of the past, or to forge a new financial future. Consider the truly financially successful. They aren't immune to these biases, but they have learned to recognize them, to anticipate them, and to consciously, systematically, work around them. They embrace calculated risk. They prioritize long-term gains over short-term gratification. They seek knowledge. They cultivate systems. They build resilience. They understand their own psychology. It's not about being smarter. It's about being aware. It's about understanding the internal operating system and learning how to hack it. To align your ancient brain with your modern ambitions. To bridge the chasm between instinct and intellect. The rich aren't necessarily luckier, they've simply learned to dance with their own internal saboteur. Your brain, in its purest intention, wants to protect you. But its ancient wisdom can be a modern cage. The journey to financial liberation begins by acknowledging this profound truth. By understanding the invisible forces that have held you back. By transforming your greatest protector into your greatest ally. It's a lifelong endeavor, a continuous learning. But the moment you realize your brain isn't your enemy, but a complex, powerful machine awaiting recalibration, that's the moment true change becomes possible. The moment you begin to reclaim your financial destiny. The path ahead is clear. The choice, now conscious, is finally yours.